Love Ultra, the modern R&B mix show. I am the host. I am the DJ. I am Ja Prince. Every year, City of Atlanta, the Atlanta Jazz Fest, they reach out and they say, "Well, there's some artists that we'd like for you to interview." I said, "Okay, sign them up, line them up." They said, "Have you heard of Donnie?" I said, yeah, heard of Donnie. Oh, Donnie's on it. He's on it this year. Okay, so the Atlanta Jazz Fest, Saturday, May 23rd, all the way till Monday the 25th. Everybody who comes out every year. Our guest today is Donnie. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, brother? How you doing?
Doing very good, doing very good. Let's start out like you
Wonderful.
said, as man to man, as ATL resident to resident. You feel good. Like in Atlanta, we got the pollen, we got the lemon pepper wings, everything. You feel good, Donnie?
Oh, I feel wonderful. I've been here since I was a little boy, So this is my home, not my birthplace, but my home. And the pollen don't bother me, never has, which is crazy because it bothers everybody. And it's hot wings, not lemon pepper. I want the hot wings.
Appreciate it. Every year we have so many artists coming to the city, and they're coming to this park, this Piedmont Park. Like you said, we've been in all the zones of Atlanta, residing, relaxing. But Piedmont Park is special. Tell me about your relationship. Like it's not. It's a nice park.
Yeah, Piedmont for me is. I say to my partner all the time that you see everybody there. And most of the time everybody's getting along, even though, people may get on somebody's nerve, but they don't confront people about it. You may step on my blanket, blah, 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 blah. But people are usually get along of every race. I mean, gender, sexual orientation, it is there. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. People have so many differences. And what they would say somewhere else is like, let me just chill out. And that's just, I appreciate people for that. That is wonderful.
Let me explain something, Donnie. It's a very big stage. Donnie, it's a huge stage. Are you ready for the stage?
Oh, yes. If I wasn't, I would crumble. I don't know, it's a rebirth. For me, it's something that it just gives me a newness. It allows me a chance to express myself and just memories, of past success and failures, But for me to be on the ticket with Roots and Esperanza, and much respect to the same bill. Yes.
I like it. Let's talk about that. We are in the city of Atlanta. It is a very diverse city, like you said, different parts of Fulton, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Lawrence. Everybody's coming to the City Memorial Weekend. 3 days free in the park when you bring your family. The Office of Cultural Affairs, the City of Atlanta, the mayor's office, and of course the executives who thought about this lineup, the expanding the lineup, they were very specific, Donnie. They didn't just pick a name out of a hat. They said, Donnie, yes, it is your turn to perform an entire album.
Yes.
How does that feel? Like, no, they chose me, and they chose this very specific album, the color section.
Well, my album is not specifically jazz. And that is an honor, you know what I mean? Because, to have musicians of all different walks and jazz musicians to even say, we like your music means a whole lot, because jazz people are very trained, writers, other type of stuff. So for me, it's an honor. And to perform the colored section it's a confirmation. Thank Craig Garrett for even calling me and asking for it. But if you step out in faith, I was scared to perform again. But my friend Kyrie Cabral Simmons, he said, Donnie, come out and sing with me on December 9th. I went, and it was like, I don't know what's happening, Donnie, because Craig Garrett just called me. Don't be scared, whoever it is, whoever you are. As an artist, if you feel like it's over, it's not. You know what I mean? Not unless you want it to be.
I like it. I like it. And the same thing, just singing, just considerably singing for so many years and singing from the soul, just like you said, even if it's not a gospel or a jazz or interpretation. Explain about this soul music. This is not line stepping soul music that you're singing, but explain what singing from the soul that you do, Donnie.
I mean, most soul singers are gospel singers. I mean, Aretha Franklin, Donny Hathaway, Otis Red, all these people sang in church. And really soul singing is more so, it's talking about romance. But what soul became was very much an anthem or a type of music that was an anthem to our people, to Black people. And, it said loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And, to be young, gifted, and Black. That's soul music. Even though in my music, I celebrate American music. I was born in the 70s and they were recapping the music before them and making new music. Dr. Buzzard, they were doing the 30s. They were zoot suits and go, it was like, what? Y'all putting disco? We dancing to this? So it's just, I love American music. It's our music and it is what it is. And I don't know if people will get offended of that, but it is what it is. The Architects were who they were.
I love it. I love it. And the same way sometimes as an artist, you have to reintroduce yourself. And yes, now we're reintroducing this album because they're going to keep asking you questions. Little nieces and nephews and little baby cousins. They're going to be out there and say, but why they put Donnie on it? And why he doing this album? We're not afraid to talk about it. We're not afraid to sing about it. We're not afraid to feel it. So this album, no hesitation. You are ready to perform this album this year.
Yes. But the colored section just was a dedication to my people. It's called the colored section. So let's stop there. Donnie, let me stop being afraid to talk about what it's about. You know what I mean? It's about Black folk and it's about our successes, our everything that happened to us. I even have a song called Wildlife, Big Black Buck. These songs talk about, slavery. They talk about auction block, but because people need to hear this. If nobody else want to listen, I'm going to say, hear my people, I love you. So we're talking about the Jazz Fest. Wouldn't be no jazz. Jelly Roll, Ella, Dizzy. You know what I mean? I appreciate Benny. We're the Andrews Sisters because even Ella Fitzgerald will tell you, I have my style from the Andrews Sisters. And I said, huh? But she, of course, took it to a whole nother level. But the Andrews Sisters were the bomb. I can't say they weren't. But it is a dedication to them as well, because this stage is not going to be only with Black people on it. It's going to be all races. It is an honor for people to share the music and not just take credit like they did.
I love it. I love it. Donnie is able to speak from his heart, speak from his soul, and perform. And he will be on the Jazz Fest 2026, one of the 3 days. So ladies and gentlemen, you can come to any one of the days. As he said, very specifically, one of these days is extremely, extremely packed.
Yes. May 24th that's the Sunday. And it'll be at 5 p.m. And I'll be singing with a lot of friends. My background singers hadn't sang with them for decades. So they were there in the beginning. And a lot of people don't realize it was 25 years ago. So at 25, it's a whole nother perspective. Being 51, is, I'm looking and going, I forgive you, Donnie. The music industry was not a place for me, but to get props from the music industry still and not really have done very well and did some really, really messed up things, it still lets me know I did what I was supposed to do.
I love it. Donnie, artists are allowed to grow. They're supposed to develop their sound. And your music, like you said, from that era did touch on our identity, the self-awareness. And that has changed over time, just as anyone else. Or has it remained the same? Same politics, the same social, same community?
Same. Yeah, which is sad to say in some points, because the young people in the inner city, that has been a constant through our experience here in America, through this social experiment, as people would say, and that's one thing that needs to be addressed mostly. I think that's the biggest thing, because I want to see them successful. You know what I mean? But we have to make our own decision. And that thing right there is just one thing that, well, really, to be totally honest, it's the same. And it's sad I'm just going to be honest. The one thing I am proud of is that we could boycott some store. And in these days and times, they did it back in the day. But for us to come together and do that right there, it's sad. But the one thing that really is, I see as Americans, they know what it is to be treated like a second-class citizen. They've been trying to tell us this for years. And now we're seeing that we've been over here enjoying ourselves while they've been separate. And that's not right. He's explaining it. She's explaining it. I believe in a bright future. Really. It doesn't, he just bringing folks together. So let him use you, Donald.
I love it. I love it. We always need to ask here from the journalistic, from the podcaster side, Donnie, why can't you just sing some happy music, some lovey-dovey music, and we'll help you with your tour and all that? Why you gotta be so social? Why you gotta be so strong?
Who else is gonna be strong? One thing I was inspired by, what's going on? Marvin Gaye, what's going on? And it's not a bragging point, but that's family. And this is a lineage. And that's one thing when I look at that album, it's on my shrine. And my dad, and I talk and express myself. But for that album was a monumental, one of the most powerful albums. And this man, I'm kin to. I'm like, oh, and I know exactly how a lot of people look at me like, oh, Donnie. I'm like, man, for real. These stars come from somewhere. They don't just fall out of the sky, y'all. That's carrying on. I couldn't sing gospel because I didn't want to push a message of religion on people because I believe people are free to do whatever they want to do. But I'm like, okay, still want to sing a message. So I'm a preacher. I'm a minister. I was a junior deacon and a choir director. I come straight from the church. So I have to have a message if it ain't going to be about religion.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it, Donnie. Only having for a couple more minutes. It's not a conversation. It's a TruVersation we're having with a man about living in Atlanta. Now, living in Atlanta the same way, we have to worry about what we're eating, what we're drinking, and we have to worry about our mental space. Talk to me. How important as a musician, as a man living in the city, that I need to take a mental break.
To be truthful about this city in particular, there's a lot of the vibration of the violence and the grotesque bloody acts that have happened in the South. A lot of people are crazy in this city. It is what it is. And a lot of people need mental health, especially Black people. Because you go down little 5 Points, a lot of people don't know that's where the auction house used to be. Yeah. And it's really, you see the same type of spirits and vibrations. So I feel that spiritually, you have to meditate. Whatever it is that you do, you have to meditate, but also face the fact that from some of these places you see and from some of these trees and all of this type of stuff, your ancestors did one day hang. It's very grotesque, but that's what wildlife is about, Big Black Buck. Like I mentioned, we have to face, even though it's hard, I see why people of other races don't want to face it. It's hard for us to face. It hurts. It's humiliated.
Yeah.
So right now, I just believe that we can just rise up and live out the true meaning of America's creed. And that's what Dr. King said from Atlanta. Yeah.
From Atlanta, coming to you for the Atlanta Jazz Fest 2026. Like I said, the Office of Cultural Affairs, the City of Atlanta, the Executive Board, we got to thank them for making such a diverse lineup every year, right? Every year.
Yes.
But this year, Donnie is performing, like you said, Sunday, 5 p.m. Let's talk about the music because, Donnie, like you said, we don't want you to skip over any song. So Big Black Buck will be played. It is a whimsical song. It's a playful. We hear the trombones. Tell us about making the Big Black Buck.
Well, Big Black Buck is definitely inspired from it's ragtime. Definitely ragtime music, which is the birth of jazz. So that I'm, Jelly Roll and all those people who we never really mentioned, like we mentioned Miles and Ella, Jelly Roll, so it is very much, it's whimsical, it's dark humor. Because sometimes as people, we have to come from that point of view. I love when comedians do it because everybody gets to. That's what gestures were. You put up a mirror and say, "This is what you look like." Don't you see? And you laugh at yourself, or you're ashamed of yourself. But in order for the message to come through, the comedic side of it allows people to deal with their guilt and look at themselves as silly. This is a silly experience for people that hate you because of how the complexion of your skin and the texture of your hair. And that's one thing I really, really, really appreciate about us. No matter how down you go to the ghetto right now, but they're gonna be proud to be Black, and I love it.
We also have to talk to our young people. On some of your songs, we talk about time. Time is sacred. These relationships and these situations, young people, that you're putting yourself in is very sacred. And we're not sweating you for that part. Talk about some of the lyrics and some of the songs that you have dedicated, reminding our young people about how precious time is.
Well, Beautiful Me is a song that I start off the album with. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, lips, my eyes, my mouth, my nose. They all go against what society calls beautiful. So if you talk about time, wasting time thinking, especially for our chocolate sisters. They are the ones that have to look at themselves and see the beauty, because I may not have thin lips, or my nose I may be dark skinned, my hair may be kinky, but I have to learn how to love me. Cloud Nine. I've had a lot of sisters come up to me about that song, and they said, "Donnie, I just cut the perm out of my head." And I'm looking at them like, huh? They said, "Donnie, I heard that song. I just went natural." So it's more so of the beauty that I want them to see. It's not just I know you're proud to be Black, but why? And if you're proud, then stand up and live like it. Because y'all kings and queens, everybody even copying y'all. Y'all in the ghetto doing this, and they around the world copying y'all. Do y'all know who you are? At your worst, they copying you. Come on.
I love it. Donnie, right here on the Love Ultra Radio. He's going to be performing Atlanta Jazz Fest. Just like you say, Cloud Nine, happy to be nappy. I'm Black and I'm proud. These are just catchphrases you put on a t-shirt. Donnie's going to be performing the colored section.
Yes, sir. I'm loving it. And just come out and just enjoy it with me, celebrate with me, because it is a celebration. It is victory. A lot of people we don't know what the next person is going through. I don't know what you're going through, and it ain't my business. But the whole point is that, sometimes some of us can be Karens and Kevins, if people know what that is. And I had to remember, they're going through something just like, or something worse. So that's the thing about it, is victory, celebration. And when you put me on a stage with the Roots, that says a lot, because I respect them, the modern Public Enemy, that group. And just to mention, when you have Professor Griff and Chuck D meeting you on the side of the stage, this happened decades ago, and they're like, "Donnie, I'm looking at them like, oh my God," because that's Generation X iconic. So hip hop icons respecting you for your lyrics, and they are the lyricists of lyricists, making stuff rhyme and on improv and make sense. That is genius. So let's do it. Let's celebrate the lyrics and the music.
That's right. The colored section, the album is a collection, different vibes, different talents. And like you said, it's going to be a family gathering of your musicians from that era till now. Explain one more time, Atlanta Jazz Fest. Donnie is coming with some friends, and it's going to be a family reunion.
Yes, sir. Very much so. It's just the city of the Phoenix. And it's like rising from the ashes. Went into my, stages and, flying high in the friendly skies. All the stuff it's real. We have problems, especially artists. We go through, our problems, our, drug use, our addictions. But to know and to smile and say, whew, I come from church, so I'm going to shout in a minute. But the victory, rise up out of the ashes. You're in the city of the Phoenix. So it's the rebirth. Atlanta, baby.
That's it. The Atlanta Jazz Fest presented by Design Essentials, powered by the Bank of America. Donnie will be performing. So sisters, yes, get out there, get your bag from Design Essentials and get your grub on because we're going to be eating and go and listen to Donnie because he is going to be performing Atlanta Jazz Fest. Before we let anybody go, we have to ask one more question every year. There's things that you like, but there's something that you love and something you love ultra. Donnie, what do you love ultra?
My people, the ancestors. How I grew up and how Marvin grew up was in a very powerful religion that showed us that it gave us pride. It gave me pride to see those people do the things that the house of God, very, very Hebrew Pentecostal. You can read it in Marvin's memoirs and his books, but you have that type of power to know that we possess that type of power makes me just be like, okay, I love the ancestors and the way they paid. They suffered for us, so I'm going to always lift them up. That's who I love the most.